Over the past decade, the cost of living and real estate in many American cities has risen faster than almost anything. Faster than wages, faster than infrastructure, and in some cases, faster than common sense. These aren't the worst cities in the United States, they just went off the rails a bit. Rents doubled, home prices surged, taxes, utilities, and everyday expenses followed right behind. But for millions of residents, the quality of life didn't improve along with that price tag. In many places, it quietly declined. In this video, we're breaking down the top 10 US cities where the cost of living rose faster than the quality of life. Cities that became dramatically more expensive without delivering much of anything new or better. If you're thinking about relocating, downsizing, retiring, or just trying to understand why your city feels harder to live in every year, this list will explain what actually changed and why so many people are rethinking where they live. Let's get into it. Number 10, Boise, Idaho. Boise didn't do anything wrong. That's the problem. For years, it was a genuinely good deal. Clean, safe, scenic, affordable, and calm. Then remote work arrived, and suddenly Boise became everyone's backup plan. Californians, Seattleites, Bay Area refugees who wanted space, mountains, and lower taxes. Prices didn't rise gradually, they launched. Housing costs exploded faster than wages, rents surged, starter homes vanished. Locals who grew up here started realizing they couldn't afford to stay in the same neighborhoods they went to high school in. Meanwhile, quality of life didn't collapse, but it didn't improve either. Traffic got worse, infrastructure lagged, healthcare access tightened, and a small city calm that made Boise attractive got crowded out by growth it wasn't built to absorb. If you talk to anyone from Boise, you know they're just done with people flooding into that city. It's in Idaho. It was really never meant to be a major city in the United States, and it's heading that direction. And to people that, went to high school there in the 1980s and maybe even the 1970s, they're looking around going, I don't even recognize this place. It's kind of a double-edged sword. The locals like the money that newcomers bring in and the new businesses that have moved there. They help the tax base, they get better schools, things like that, but over the last 10 years, it's just grown too much. Here's their numbers. The Boise livability score currently is 84. In 2015, basically 10 years ago, it was 85. The cost of living in 2015 was 97. Right now, it's 114. And in case you've never watched my channel before, the best way to look at cost of living, it's simplified, but let's say a basket of groceries in the average state or average city costs $100. If you've got a cost of living that's 114, that means that same basket of groceries, same items, costs $114. And if it's lower, like 97 in 2015, it would be $97 worth of groceries. Number 9, Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville used to feel like a real city that happened to be fun. Then it became an experience economy. Housing prices jumped hard, property taxes climbed, rents rose faster than incomes. But what residents got in return wasn't better services. It was more bachelorette parties and pedal taverns clogging downtown. Traffic worsened dramatically. Infrastructure fell behind population growth. Neighborhood character started dissolving under short-term rentals and flip houses. Healthcare is strong, yes, but that's regional, not lifestyle saving. Daily life became louder, pricier, and less functional, especially for anyone not working in tourism, healthcare, or tech. Nashville didn't get better, it got busier and more expensive. And for a growing number of residents, the fun stopped offsetting the frustration. I've been to Nashville quite a few times in my life, and it's a good time, I have to admit. Never lived there, but I can imagine it does wear thin after a while. All the noise, all the crowds, and it's just gotten worse over the last 10 years. On top of that, they've had a whole bunch of newcomers in our last 10 years, so I could see their frustration, and they're definitely not getting what they're paying for anymore. Here's the numbers. In 2015, the livability score in Nashville was 81. Currently, it's 78. Their cost of living in 2015 was 91. Right now, it's 105. Austin sold a very specific fantasy. Cool jobs, live music, laid-back culture, and affordability. It was a solid offer, and the city delivered. Then affordability left the chat. Like so many other cities that got popular with young people and a music scene, the popularity fizzled. It happened in Portland, Athens, Seattle, and San Francisco. They stayed popular, but not with the same broke kids that were there for the music. Housing costs surged faster than infrastructure improvements. Traffic became legendary. In a bad way. Utilities climbed, property taxes started biting hard, they didn't have decent public transit, or a lot of other things a city that size should have. The quality of life trade-offs grew obvious. Longer commutes, more sprawl, less uniqueness, higher everyday costs. Austin still has opportunity, but residents increasingly feel like they're paying coastal prices for inland execution. This has led to a lot of residents flooding into the suburbs. Round Rock, Dripping Springs, and a few others. Austin isn't terrible, it's just no longer the deal people thought they were moving into.
Here's the numbers. In 2015, the livability score in Austin was 86. In 2025, it's 83. Cost of living in 2015 was 105. Right now, it's 120. Number 7, Denver, Colorado. Denver's cost of living skyrocketed because people wanted access to nature, lifestyle, and growth. And I've always found it strange that they have destroyed thousands of acres of open land and nature to house people that are moving there for the nature. It's kind of weird. Now, if the amount of people moving in over the last few decades was more of a creek instead of a river, it might have been more manageable. It was not a creek. It was a river that flooded over its banks, and it's all in the Front Range. You don't hear of people moving to eastern Colorado. It's all going to be in the Denver metro area. Yes, I know some people move to other parts of Colorado, but not like they do to Denver. Anyway, when that flood of people came in, housing costs surged, rents jumped, traffic worsened, air quality dipped, homelessness became more visible, and infrastructure upgrades lagged far behind population growth. And they have a bad time with homeless. Just like San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, and Los Angeles. And that definitely brought down the quality of life for the regular residents, homeless being irregular, I guess. So what didn't improve at the same pace as the population? Public transit, effectiveness, healthcare affordability and access, daily conveniences, and commute times. Commute times went way up. Denver didn't become bad, it became crowded, expensive, and frustrating while still relying heavily on the same selling points it had 10 and 20 years ago. People didn't stop moving to the mountains, they just stopped loving the city part of the deal. Here's their numbers. The livability score in 2015 was 76. In 2025, it's 72. The cost of living in 2015 was 110. In 2025, it's 133.
Number 6, Seattle, Washington.
You know, after Portland and California in general, Seattle seems to be the internet's punching bag. I mean, if you're leaving a comment someplace and Seattle comes up, I promise, unless you live there, it's going to be negative. Or people on the internet always seem to forget the good things of any city and just focus on things like the homelessness or the cost of living. They always seem to forget that half the things they order online are because of a company that came out of Seattle. Coffee became a cultural icon because of a coffee shop in Seattle. Some of the greatest rock music came out of Seattle. They always forget those things. They just focus on, they got homeless. But Seattle's rise was built on tech salaries, and that distorted everything. Housing prices exploded, rents climbed aggressively, everyday expenses rose fast. Quality of life improvements failed to keep up. They actually went backwards. Traffic became constant. Homelessness became unavoidable. Public services strained under the rapid growth. Small businesses struggled to survive the rising costs. For newcomers earning tech money, the city can still work. For everyone else, Seattle became a place where you're paying a premium to navigate dysfunctional efficiency. Like I said, it's had some great things, but it does have some problems. The scenery here is beautiful, the paychecks might be strong, the daily grind increasingly exhausting. Myself, I really like Seattle. Go up there occasionally, it's a nice place to just be. Here's Seattle's numbers. The livability score in 2015 was 79. In 2025, it was 75. The cost of living in 2015 was 121. That's their cost of living index. In 2025, it's 180. Brutal.
If they were giving out Nobel Prizes for forgotten subscriptions, I would have won a few by now. I watch a lot of movies, I have far too many software subscriptions, which I switch up when I find a better service. My biggest problem is forgetting to cancel the one I just replaced. I had an audio recording software that I was paying for over 2 years. That won't be happening again, thanks to today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is an easy-to-use app that helps you save more and manage your money better. Besides finding and canceling subscriptions, I love using Rocket Money to lower my bills, which they have. Rocket Money will automatically scan your bills to find savings. With just a couple taps, Rocket Money can help negotiate your bills for you, from internet services to cable to phone bills. No need to worry about customer service calls. Let the app's negotiators go to work for you to try and get the best possible rate. This, of course, will help you save money. Rocket Money has helped its customers save up to $740 a year when they use all the app's premium features. They also helped customers save over $880 million in canceled subscriptions. It's a lot of cash. Take control of your finances today. Go to rocketmoney.com/Briggs to get started for free. So to save more, go to rocketmoney.com/Briggs or click on the link in the description area to get started for free. Back to the video.
Number 5, Portland, Oregon. Look, my hometown and Seattle's neighbor to the south. Portland and Seattle are two of the biggest cities in the Pacific Northwest, Portland being the smaller of the two. When I moved up here in 2010, Portland was a great city to live in. I loved it. I still love the city. It's just got a whole bunch of problems. Getting a little bit better. They're still a long way from being fixed. But Portland's kind of strange because its cost of living rose on reputation alone. They didn't have some major tech surge. I mean, they had some, but it wasn't major. They didn't strike oil. People just thought it was a really cool city since the, mid-90s, and all the young people started moving here. Sort of like what happened in Austin. And one of the problems with the homeless, a lot of them were runaway kids or kids that moved here for the scene back in the day. They ended up on the streets, and in a lot of cases, they spent years on the streets. Now, like I always say, there's a million and one reasons that homelessness happens. Mental illness and drug issues are usually the main culprits that put people off the streets. But housing surge played their part, different things. It just got too expensive and people ended up in their cars, and eventually that gets towed and they end up on the street. Taxes climbed, the utilities got pricier, but the quality of life never rose. It fractured. Like I said, some people went on the street and some other people, they just kind of started falling behind on their bills. Homelessness became overwhelming, public safety confidence dropped, downtown struggled to recover, small businesses closed or relocated. We've gone over this at length, but it was hard to keep businesses in downtown Portland for a long time. No one wants to go to your business when you got 10 tents lined up on the sidewalk. The strange thing is there were so many lawsuits, Portland couldn't do much about it. Finally, a few years back, the Supreme Court said, no, you can, in fact, chase people off the sidewalk. And Portland started to. But Portland didn't collapse. It just stopped functioning smoothly while still charging premium prices. The city's still in bad shape and they want top dollar for everything. People don't leave Portland because they hate the city. They leave because the costs stop matching the experience. But in my opinion, Portland, in its heyday, I would say prior to 2015, maybe even up to 2017, it was a great city to live in. You hear other people say that it started going downhill around 2010, 2007, something like, I don't know. Everyone's got their own experience. My experience is somewhere around 2015, 2017, it started going downhill. Before that, it was an amazing city. Now, I still go downtown all the time. I don't totally avoid it, but it's not as fun as it used to be. It costs too much and there's just too much BS going on downtown. So here's their numbers. The livability score in 2015 was 83. Last year in 2025, it was 77. Back around 2021, when I was doing a video, the quality of life score was down to 69. The cost of living in 2015 was 108, and in 2025, it was 138. Number 4, San Diego, California. San Diego is known to have the best weather in the United States. But it's got perfect weather in imperfect reality. San Diego charges luxury prices for everything, from a bowl of noodles to an Uber ride. But outside the weather, the lifestyle increasingly feels ordinary, just expensive in San Diego. If you've never been to San Diego, I will tell you it is a great city to visit. Living there might be a different story. I mean, it's nice to live there. You gotta have the money to live there. That's the problem. And not a lot of people do. Most people end up there, they showed up from the Navy or something like that, and they never want to leave. You don't know they got a big military base there, Navy base, and the Marines are right up the road. So this is definitely a military city, but it is one of the most expensive military cities in the nation. But the housing costs rival the Bay Area without the same job density. Traffic worsened, utilities climbed, taxes stayed high, and everyday services didn't noticeably improve. It's not like the crime went down. It's not like they chased all the homeless people out. They have a homeless problem there too. Nothing really got better. It stayed the same. Just got more expensive. It's still beautiful, it's still desirable, but many of the residents feel like they're paying 5-star prices for a solid 3.5-star experience. Sunshine doesn't fix affordability forever. Here's their numbers. The livability score in 2015 was 79. In 2025, it dropped 4 points to 75. The cost of living in 2015 was 125, and their cost of living index in 2025 was 168. Number 3, Los Angeles. Now, this is where I was born and raised. I was born and raised in the suburb called Torrance, California. Redondo Beach, Torrance, go back and forth. It's like one of those places where everyone you know lived in Torrance at one time and Redondo at another time. I went back and forth. Think early days, it was Redondo, then Torrance for a while, then Redondo into my adult years. I've worked downtown Los Angeles. I've worked all over that city. I know Los Angeles pretty good, and it has always been a mess. They've always had homeless. We've always had Skid Row. Something happened around 2010 down there that just blew up the homeless population, and it went crazy. Now, the crime rate, we've had gang problems and all of those stuff, that somewhat went down over the years. The homeless problem did not, and the prices went up even more. You talk to people that aren't from Los Angeles, that don't know about it, the first thing they think is Compton is the most dangerous neighborhood, most dangerous town in the United States. It's part of the Los Angeles metro area. Compton is not the Compton of the early 1990s. It's not great right now, it's still pretty dangerous, but it is not the frickin' war zone it used to be. I would actually be comfortable going down there and going to Home Depot or something. But Los Angeles has always been expensive no matter what the problems were that was going on there. But in recent years, that expensive climb that it's always been doing has picked up some steam. And not a lot has gotten better. I mean, the crime got better in the late 90s, early 2000s. Again, I'm not trying to say it's a perfect place. It's just not that epidemic violence like it used to be. If you look at the top 10 major cities in the United States for overall crime, Los Angeles is nowhere near the top 10. Either Chicago. Memphis is number 1, just so you know. Chicago is ranked 25th, and Los Angeles is 31st. They're safer than cities like Seattle, Washington, Denver, Colorado, Nashville, Houston, San Antonio. Los Angeles is even safer than Portland, Oregon, but it's still far more expensive than all of those. Over the last handful of years, housing costs have surged, commutes lengthened, public safety confidence dropped, homelessness exploded. Residents increasingly pay top-tier prices to manage bottom-tier logistics. LA didn't get more functional, it got more chaotic while demanding more money just to exist inside the chaos. Here's their numbers. Livability score in 2015 in Los Angeles was 69. In 2025, it was 67. The cost of living in 2015 was 131. Their cost of living index in 2025 was 172. Number 2, New York City. Now this one blows me away. I thought for sure New York City was a very cheap place to live. I mean, it's known for how affordable it is and how low cost living it is. I'm just kidding. Affordability to New York is what botulism is to tuna. This is one of the most expensive cities in the United States, in the world really. You paid more, you accept less, you repeat. New York used to justify its costs through opportunity and efficiency. Now, housing costs have skyrocketed, taxes have increased, services are strained, quality of life perks faded. You're paying more for smaller spaces, longer waits, and less flexibility. And while the city offers unmatched culture and jobs, the value equation feels increasingly tilted against the residents. I experienced New York City. I spent like that a week there a year ago last October. Went out to dinner, 2 tacos, 2 drinks, maybe 4 drinks. My bill was $160. and it wasn't even some high-end restaurant. It was nice. It wasn't something spectacular. Now, when you take all of the boroughs, Manhattan is going to be the most expensive. But Brooklyn and the Bronx and Queens, they're all expensive too. Here's their numbers. The livability score in 2015 in New York City was 77. In 2025, it's 75. Cost of living in 2015 was 142, and now the cost of living index in 2025 is 174. All right, before we get to number 1, if you've not subscribed, appreciate it if you did. It doesn't cost you anything. Maybe while you're at it, you give the video a big thumbs up. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, San Francisco, California. Yes, this is the most extreme mismatch in America. No city represents the disconnect better. San Francisco, like New York City, is legendary for unaffordability. It used to be a place where hippies hung out. And then they had the tech boom and everything blew up. This is how it goes. You've got a very expensive product, which is anything tech, and then you need people with very high salaries to work there. They need homes. They start buying homes. They start paying rent, and then the landlords and the homeowners realize that these people are flush with cash, so they raise the prices on everything. And they keep going till people quit paying it. They've just recently stopped paying it, and it's been climbing since the mid-90s. San Francisco has a buttload of problems besides affordability. You've got crime, you've got homeless, you've got a strange amount of crazy people living there. Basically, if you don't have a high-end tech job or finance job in San Francisco, you're homeless. Or you're living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 7 roommates. But in San Francisco, the housing prices became unreachable, public safety concerns grew, homelessness became central to daily life, small businesses vanished, middle-class residents exhibit en masse, and a whole bunch of city officials stood around going, I wonder what happened. What people pay for versus what they receive is widely out of balance in San Francisco. San Francisco just didn't get expensive. It became a case study in what happens when costs detach from functionality. It's not about politics, it's about math. And the math definitely doesn't work in San Francisco. Here's their numbers. The livability score in 2015 was 77. In 2025, it's 75. So it didn't get much worse. There was a point, though, around 22 or 23 where it dipped into the 60s. So it made a touch of recovery. What hasn't recovered is the cost of living. Cost of living in 2015 was $191. In 2025, it's $237. So let's go back to our cart of groceries again. If you buy a cart of groceries in Indiana for $100, it costs you $237 in San Francisco. Same stuff. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Have a great day. Be nice to each other.